Okay then, so with an engine built, which is hidden down underneath there, we're very much on to phase 2 of the build. So it's essentially going to be a dry fit to make sure everything, all the panels fit correctly, blah 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 blah, so I can then alter things before I then get on to painting. Now I've already, a lot of this is really boring to video, so I'm going to kind of run through what I've done and why I've done it. And I have got a few little video clips while I was trying to do things, but this is where we're at so far. So with the frame, the original chrome ring was quite badly bent and there's no way I was going to be able to fix that. So I've replaced the chrome ring, which involved, I wanted to do that straight away because it involved heating up the frame tubing, and obviously I don't want to do that when it's already been painted. So that was replaced, and there will be a video in a moment to show me doing that. And the same goes, the bearing race at the bottom end, again heating the frame up, knocking that bearing out, and as you can see there is now a new bearing race in there and the chrome protection ring, and there is a new bearing race in the top inside the chrome ring there. So that's all done. I have also welded on a new little strip here for where the frame, the leg shields attach to the frame, because that was completely broken away. So that's been welded. I think I've got some footage of that. I've cleaned up the threads on here. I did a lot of measuring with these frame struts, and I think they're all straight. I'm not 100% sure until I get the actual leg shields and everything sort of roughly built on, but I think they're all straight. I had to knock that one back in because there was a big bend out on there, and I've welded a new section on the end of there to give me a proper bolt hole on that. What else have I done? I do need this splash plate under here is slightly bent, so I need to, at some point I need to take this original stand off and just see where it's bent, what I can do to straighten it. Haven't really looked at that as yet. Got the toolbox out. The toolbox fits quite well, the toolbox lid I should say fits quite well. I think I need to do a slight little bit of tinkering with that, but that's not a big deal. I've taken out the old engine cones and cleaned up inside here because I've got slightly different cones because I've got the bigger silent blocks. I've put some I bought some new buffers for the side panels, put those on because one of the things that took me a long time to do was to get the side panels to fit snugly around the frame here. It involved a lot of kind of bending this lip to make more of a catch, because I think it had been flattened off a bit, so it wasn't, or sorry, bent out a little bit, so it wasn't catching on the side panels properly. But I'm happy now that I think I've got that sorted. That was a really boring video, so you're not going to see that one. I spent quite a bit of time getting these side panel hooks because they were definitely bent out of shape. It wasn't catching properly, so I had to kind of take them off, bend them a little bit, put it all back on, put the side panels on. Did it fit, didn't it fit, take it off, rebend it again, blah blah blah. That was really, took quite a long time to do that, but I've got those now to a position when I flick the levers there's a big nice solid clunk and they're catching in on there, so I'm pleased with that. I am going to paint that before we finally do a fit and tidy up these bolts, but they're all good. And then the other job that I did was the end of here. When looking down, there's a slightly bent out on one side, so I had to kind of ad-lib a little bit and figure out a way of straightening it, which I have done, and I've got a little video clip of that. So I'll put up some of the clips of me doing the various little bits. and then we're on to actually trying to do a dry fit. So we're going to put all the panels on. I have already just tried to fit in the toolbox, the airbox and the fuel tank. They all fit okay in there, so I'm happy with those. It's the panels that I need to get done, and then once I know that they all fit, then I can start making things look pretty again. So the first job will be sorting the frame out and then work my way along adding all the other bits. So that's kind of where we're at. So what I'm going to do before I get on to painting the frame is get the chrome ring, a new chrome ring in the top end and a new bearing race in the bottom end. The fact that it's going to be painted means I can actually heat some of this up. I've got a chrome ring sitting in the freezer, has been for quite a few hours, so I can heat this up a bit, leg it down and get the chrome ring out the freezer, put it into position. I can then pull it in. That threaded bar will go through with that drift on the top, stick out the bottom with another one which will go there, and then I can wind that in, and hopefully that's then going to pull the chrome ring in. What you do need to do with the chrome ring is get it dead straight so that the hole in the chrome ring lines up with that hole there, which is where a little grub screw goes in to hold it all in place. So I need to get that dead straight. Other than that, we shall see how this pans out. Well, that seemed to work reasonably successfully. Seems to be incorrect. Got the grub screw in, so that means it must basically be correct. So need to do the same for the lower bearing race down here, and then I also need to pull in the upper bearing race up there, but they're not coming till later in the week, so that's that job done for now. So we've seen the chrome ring fitted, and then with a bit more of the same, using some of the bar, using a bit of tapping with some drifts, we've now got the lower bearing race fitted. It was the long one, so it goes in about that far, with the chrome cover. Don't forget that when you're rebuilding this. And then I've also knocked in the upper bearing race, which actually fits inside the chrome ring. That went in really easily. So I decided to do all of this before I prep the frame and paint the frame, because I thought, as you can see, I thought it would help, and it definitely did, particularly with this end and this end, the chrome ring and the lower bearing race. It really helped heating the frame up. So you can see it's discoloured it, but that's not an issue because I'm going to sandpaper that back down and it's all going to get resprayed. So that's why I've done all of that before I'm actually painting the frame, and all I'll do is I'll just mask it all off really carefully. I think that'll be fine. So there's another job going in the right direction. Happy with that. I'm just making a bit of a template from one side to then make the piece that's going to fit there. So I've got a piece that's kind of going to go like that. Okay, so it's not going to win any awards, but I'm hoping now that's going to give enough clearance on this side here so that the horn casting can fit over and then locate properly onto those two lugs there. So what's the next stage? Might be unorthodox, but this seems to be working. Packed it out with some wood. It's this bit here that needs to be straighter, and you can use the wood on different angles to get it into position. You'll have to forgive that is now starting to look much straighter. So I need to fit a side panel on and see how that's looking now. See, this has been bent out there. I think I might try knocking that back in flat there, but I've got a feeling it might not work particularly well, in which case I'll just cut it away and weld another piece in, because on that side it's missing completely, so I'm gonna have to weld something in there anyway. I'll just wait and see how that one pans out. first part of the build. I'm going to put my stand back on. I've done a bit of bending to get the actual stand feet to line up with the brackets. I've got a lot of sanding to do before I paint the actual splash plate. That's going to go in there along with just loosely fitted the two cowlings on the engine. Put the main bolt in over the cylinder shroud. That hole lines up okay, and that one needs a tiny bit grinding away, I think. And it looks like the flywheel cowl, the holes seem to be lining up okay on that. So we've got, although it's not tightened up and this is a bit loose, it will fit. I'm happy with that. That's all fitting quite nicely now. And what I've just done, as you've seen, is I've just loosely put on the floor runners, having twisted those into shape. Happy with those. Got the plastic runners on as well. Bridge piece is just slotted into place. So I'm next going to put on the seat and the seat lock, make sure those fit. I'm going to slot on the rear light, put the side panels on, and then basically decide if there's anything else I need to dry fit. Probably the glove box or the toolbox door. Engine and all the cowls all fit on and they don't rub on anything. That's good. I've got my new rear shock in place, but here nothing's. I'm just making sure everything fits basically is all I'm doing now. So let's continue. And just quickly loosely fitted the toolbox. So seems to work okay. So I think we have a dry build complete. Lots of fettling to do as I do the bodywork, but I think we're basically there now. So rear light all fits nice and snug. Both side fan panels fit nice and tight and secure. This left hand one, I'm going to do a little bit of work on that fit line there. But that's reasonably straightforward. Lots of bodywork to do, but that's all okay. The seat fits nicely, both at the front and the latch. That's all tickety-boo. I'm going to replace, just buy a new seat cover because the actual frame looks really good. So I'm very happy with all of that, no problem. The fuel tank lid, although it's not attached, actually fits quite nicely, so that's all okay. The air scoop going down to the airbox fits fine, so that's all good. Toolbox lid seems to work okay, that's fine. Bridge piece lines up. I'm really pleased with a lot of bending, pushing, banging and swearing. Got the fit lines nice between the floorboards and the leg shields. Although these floor runners aren't actually screwed down, all the holes line up, so I've just gently put them into place. I'm happy with those. That all lines up. And then round at the front, the hardest part was getting the horn cast fitting with the leg shields. Had to be lots of bending in the leg shields, they were a bit out of shape. The rubbers aren't quite tucked in properly, but everything fits, so that's all tickety-boo. So the only real notes that I've made is I need to get these holes to line up better. So I've made a mark that that hole and that hole both need to be moved a couple of millimeters right and up. So I might end up grinding it all the way, adding a bit of weld on one side and just, or even welding the hole up and re-drilling the holes, just those. These ones for the leg shield trim work fine. And then down here the same thing, that hole is spot on with the horn cover. This one, not so sure about, although having said that, there is a little bit of give in the horn cast, so I could be able to just, as I fit it, I can just pull it out a tiny touch, and that will probably work okay there. And then they're all over there on the side, but I've got rear mudguard, petrol tank, toolbox and airbox they all fit underneath there. So I think that brings to the end that phase. So what I'm going to do now is basically take it all apart and then work on each individual panel, each individual piece of bodywork, what needs to be repaired, what needs to be filled, what needs to be bashed, get some filler on it where it needs it, sand it down and start the respraying process. So yeah, pleased with that. It's taken, to be fair, it's probably taken 2 to 3 months of fettling, can't think of a better word. Bit frustrating at times. The leg shield was definitely the most difficult, getting that to fit and bend in the right places, but it now looks like it's all going to come together. So we'll draw a line there on the end of that video and get on with the next stage.